It's
Don't do anything
Saturday
crazy.
night. No, it's actually
Don't,
Thursday night, isn't it? So,
don't do anything crazy. Don't do-
live from New Hampshire and Texas. It's Saturday night. I'm messed up. Am I still on here?
yes.
Okay. I
I
can't do the little technical thing I was trying to do. I'm getting out of Safari completely. I'm getting
I
back on the screen with
I
you. There we
found
go.
a guy doing reels that he's a truck driver and he's having a running commentary about the other drivers, and I'm thinking, oh, I might do that. That is so me. Oh, and every time I'm
That
on the
jerk
Merritt,
up there in front of me.
every time I'm
There.
on the Merritt Parkway, it's like you don't know the Merritt, but oh my God, I can't understand. Like here, Rocket Man, here comes Rocket Man, and he does the truck driver. He does honk 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 when someone drives in the middle lane, in the middle of the two lanes. Don't pick a lane,
Uh-huh.
like they're Pac-Man eating the
Waka 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 waka.
waka waka. He does. That's what he does. Yeah, like Pac-Man. But the people drive crazy. And then they're honking at me because I'm going 75 in the 55 and they want to go 90 and I'm holding them back. Or I like my favorite is the men that are teaching me a lesson by not going around me in the slower lane, by riding me until I do the right thing and move over. You know exactly what I mean, right?
Well, in Texas, you'd have to deal with that, and that might be the one behind you. Hi, Janet. Hi,
I knew
Teresa.
it. Yeah. There's Janet. Janet. Yay.
Well,
Janet
see,
sounds
out here in
hearing.
Texas,
Why
we
did
have
I
a
not?
rule.
What? What were you saying?
We have a
What?
rule out here in Texas. If someone is driving in the left lane and they should be moving over to the right lane because they're not passing anyone, in Texas, it's perfectly legal to put your bumper on their rear end and slide them into the wall like NASCAR.
Look at what Janet sent me. Janet's on right now. Janet Leonard, the birthday card. It says happy birthday.
Oh, cool, Janet.
Isn't that nice? But look at the earrings. I should have worn these instead. They have your favorite thing. We have the shamrocks. Well, the shamrocks.
Uh-huh.
And then squirrels.
I saw the post with the squirrel earrings,
Oh.
and I started. And somebody was asking if I needed a pair of them, and I didn't get a chance to go back in and do this. But at the time I almost typed, "Wait." Then I'd just have to be saying, "Do these earrings make my ears look big?"
I'm still back where you said you need a pair. Right. Okay.
Hey, Facebook user that said, "Hey," that sounds like it might be Debbie Britt because that's what she does a lot. Says,
Hey
"Hey,
there, kids.
hey,
It's
Don,
Peg's on, Mariana Aldiz
Peg."
is on, Teresa Staples, and Janet so far. Don King.
All right,
Squirrel.
who's Facebook user at 602 that said HEEYYY? Hey. That's my Georgia accent coming out too.
I feel really bad that I'm not 100% Irish. I'm only like 8%. But anyway, so I wanted to talk about today, if you don't mind, is the Super Bowl, and we don't get much time. But why I want to talk about it is because, and we were talking about Lisa Williams and Scott Easterday's here.
Scott, I'm so glad you made it safely back from Denver. I was worried about you. I was.
When you saw me do the Snapchat filters with Scott, he didn't do that voluntarily.
Hey, Lisa, I think when you sign in, somehow StreamYard asks you to give permission for them to post your name. That's why we're on StreamYard and I can't see your name.
They have to give permission individually, and I don't get to say no one has to do that, or I would, because I don't.
Right.
They have to do it. So Scott says I wasn't worried. I was working the room. He was really doing good too, and I know he will vouch for the fact that Peg, of course, was the queen.
Right.
Work in the room, work in the airport, work in the waiting room. She really did a good job. It made me up my game a little bit. I did get a good one. I'll say it quick because this is a good. I was not a family show. I wasn't going to say that. No, okay. So what happened was I was supposed to meet Peg down in this like big room, and it wasn't the cocktail party, but it was like networking kind of. The booths were open,
right?
And I go in the hall. she's sitting at a table meeting with someone already, and I wanted to sit at the same table so she'd know I was in the room, and this other guy was sitting there. So I went up to him, and this is what I do. Oh, where is it? Here it is. This is an autograph card because I'm an introvert and I'm afraid to talk to people that I don't know already.
It's so funny. You've made millions of dollars in direct sales, and you're afraid to talk to people unless you got that card in your hand. I love you, but you're crazy.
Well, I think we all can agree on that, though, right? I really okay.
True.
So the guy sat at the table, and I just said, "Hey, would you mind if I had your autograph?" And he said, "No one ever asked me for an autograph. That's so sweet." And he signed it. He
There you
signed
go.
it. Nice to sit with you, Charles. And some people put bigger stuff, but to
Yep.
me, it was you know what? It's not that much different from having the big old sign on my van. I don't have to walk up to people; they walk up to me. It's
Yep.
kind of like that, but that was it was awesome. And those guys that run that too, it's Achieve Systems in Colorado. They're kind
Okay.
of along that theme that I want to talk about tonight. They
Okay.
saw it working and they run with it. Every little thing that they see that works to help the business owners in the group, they
Right.
run with every little thing. And the Super Bowl thing, I didn't realize was what the do you know that much about it or am I telling you?
Yeah, I used to watch the Super Bowl all the time, and I love the commercials. I don't watch it as much anymore. I'll catch part of it, but that's it. So I'm not sure where you're going with it. So I'm going to say,
Oh,
no,
okay.
Lisa, I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about.
So it was the two leagues, the two big leagues
Right.
weren't doing anything together and then they merged. And then in 1966, they decided to do a championship between the two leagues. So the best one in each league.
Right.
And it wasn't till 69 that someone said, this could be like a Super Bowl. And it stuck.
Yep.
And all
I love
along
it.
the way, there were little things that happened that stuck. It wasn't till the 80s really that it said in this thing I read, they always had like commercials, right? Because it was always
Mhm.
on televised. And they said it was mostly well watched from the start.
Right.
But it wasn't until the 80s where they started scrutinizing the ads and the prices started going up and up and up. And that's still true today.
Okay.
So somebody back then went, hey, wait a minute, we're missing a play here. We're not making as much money as we could in the first 10 years of doing this. And now there's actually people that only watch the ads.
Right.
Yeah, Lisa Williams says, can you believe a 30-second commercial goes for $7 million? Yeah.
And you know what's incredible, Lisa, when you think about that is both Lisas in this case, is the reason they go for $7 million is those ads generate enough business for the companies that pay the 7 million that it's a good return on investment for them. So
Yeah.
that's what that kind of exposure means. It's
Well,
just
was it
incredible.
your old company there benefit from one of the Super Bowl ads so much?
Yeah,
In that?
Aflac would advertise on they used to only advertise on college sports and then they advertised on baseball. When baseball went on strike one year, and this was probably back in the late 1990s, they weren't spending money on baseball advertising, so they started advertising on Fox Sports on the NFL games. I liked that. I was living in the Dallas area at the time, and Dallas was kicking uh, booty, and so we were getting tickets to playoff games and all that, and
Ooh,
I
that's
was doing
nice.
all right, and I got to go to the games, and oh, that was fun. So I loved it. But yeah, Aflac became a name brand partly because of the football stuff. This would have been early 2000s because the very first duck commercial happened in January of 2000 when Y2K was going from
Oh, yeah.
1999 to
Yeah.
2000.
Oh, that was
They started
hilarious.
the first duck commercials actually appeared on the news channels every half hour or so for a
Wow.
24-hour period because people were glued to the
Yeah.
news channels thinking everything was going to crash.
Yeah. Yeah, that was something too. That was something. But and just think all along the way, I bet you, right, that it probably built up over time, but I'm sure they have, for the Super Bowl itself, one whole team of people that deal with the football part and one
Mhm.
whole team of people that just deal with the commercials. And there's
Oh,
probably a whole team of people that just deal with the food at the venue.
oh, yeah, they're
The
it's a
giant
huge thing.
Yeah,
Huge.
and paraphernalia, the shirts and all that stuff that people buy is
Right.
another big, huge thing. And every time something happens, they reassess and go, "Well, wait a minute, maybe we can make this big."
Oh, yeah, it's a money maker, and I'm sure, and I'm guessing, so I can't say I'm sure, if I'm guessing, I would suppose. But probably that event will bring in over $1 billion, counting TV revenue,
Wow.
ad revenue, the things that happen actually at the stadium. I saw a statistic this week that said the average Super Bowl ticket price, the average was over $12,000.
Wow.
Now, I love a lot of things in my life, but I wouldn't pay $12,000 to go to a football game. I
But
just wouldn't.
it doesn't need to be everybody. That's why they're 12,000. There
That's
are enough people that would pay for it. That's
that
why they can get it.
that
Why I wanted to even talk about this is
yeah.
there was one of the speakers out there. I go to other people. I call this other people's stuff, but that really wasn't other people's stuff, was it? That
Yeah,
was yeah. I'm a member of that group. It's not
that's
really
right.
other people's stuff, right? But Peg will vouch for me on this. The speakers were really good, and they were just part of the event. And like she went there as my guest, I went there as Robert and Noel's guest.
Right.
So we got a whole bunch of value for free because we
Do
were guests.
Well, do they charge some people to attend? Is that their business model? What's their business model?
Well, they have booths around the outside, and
Okay.
they do pitch you to be a member of the organization, which would be a
Right.
monthly thing. So I think that's where they're getting theirs. But the guy, it was Ryan, I think. Peg, you can tell me if I'm wrong who it was. His thing was how to scale to the next level. But he says yes and then sorts it out. He says yes about everything. Was that Ryan? Now Peg's going to have to tell me. I think that was Ryan.
You know,
Yeah.
there's a Jim Carrey movie called Yes Man, where he goes to some seminar, they say, "You're going to say yes to everything," so he starts doing that, and the movie's not a family movie, but boy, it's hilarious.
But he it's just yes to more things. Yes,
Right,
Ryan, scale to the next level.
right,
But he was so funny because Ryan's like a millionaire a few
right.
times over, and he was telling us all this stuff. And he says he's had big giant failures too.
Sure.
Big giant
Everybody that's succeeded has had a bunch of them, a bunch of times where you fell right on your bottom.
Well, and as small business owners, we almost need to be, um, I don't know, having our antenna up
Right,
for things that might be catching on.
right,
Like, I don't know, I've been just threatening to do the reels for all this time, and then
right.
once I paid attention to it, I've got 90 of them up there already, I think it is,
I've
and I've
gotta
just
definitely
turned
spend
on.
more time with you on the reels. I need to be doing reels too, because what you're doing in reels is so much fun, Lisa. And when you and Peg were out in Denver, I was laughing my
Dancing.
rear end off, you know? And by the way, Peg, I will just say it in front of everybody, you are a stud. I'm just gonna say that, you are. And oh my gosh, it was those reels were so funny. And Peg is out there promoting you, promoting me, promoting Bob like crazy.
Yeah,
Oh,
we had a good time, and I love that chain too, Embassy Suites. Bib's on. Hey, Bib.
hey, Bib.
So, um, let's see. Lisa said, "Oh my God, Reels digital marketing geek out with me." Yeah. Well, it's funny because I was just saying to Jeff before we came on, I have no idea. I'm still thinking about what makes a good reel and what doesn't. And my last big one was I took a screenshot of an email, and it just happened to be an email where I'm getting an award though. And I
Right.
put that up, and that did 1,500 within a very short amount of time. So that will be my business one. Then I got to do a cat one or something. I got to do a bunch of ones that don't have anything to do with business, and then I put a work one. I think that's the trick, though. You got to not put just work ones.
Right.
Oh, you're driving the yeah.
Uh-huh. I'm reminding you of a picture you sent me.
Thank you.
Well, you know, the one of the most biggest exposures we had when we were launching Blue Hair was there was one video of you when you were opening up the author copies,
Oh
and you
yeah.
were just so sweet and so much in tears practically over the thing, and that got hundreds of plays in
Yeah,
like this much time, minutes,
that's on
and
my reels. That is one
yeah,
of the reels, yeah, and that
and
did
so
do well, yeah, and it's hard to tell, I think, what's gonna do well, but I
right,
think the whole point of the Super Bowl analogy or whatever is that, um, be willing to try different stuff because they just tried that doing the merger thing, and then
right,
once you have tried something and you're gonna try other stuff, if something starts to get any amount of traction,
right.
yeah, I think you have to watch for traction. It just doesn't come up to you and go, you need to do more of this because this is kind of,
It would
yeah,
be so helpful if it would just grab you and say, "Hey, this worked. People like this. They watched you. They went and bought your book. Do this." I could do this if it would do that to me.
well, right, and I think that's the thing is paying attention, which sounds like it
Right.
shouldn't be a thing you but have to do, but you do.
I started some Amazon ads today for Streetwise to Saleswise and Blue Hair, and so I'm just interested to see how it goes. And all I did was target sponsor. I put sponsored ads where people were looking at other books that were similar. If they were looking at some sort of sales or motivation book, I just targeted those books. And so we'll see how it does.
And I think you gotta try all kind of different stuff.
Yeah,
Another thing that happened from the Super Bowl is 1991 was the first time that they had, like, a concert with a pop artist at the halftime. Before that, they were doing the local marching band, and they had stuff the little local TV show
I might
personalities.
have been in one of those marching bands. Hold on,
But, I mean,
don't poke
so
fun.
somebody had to have the foresight to see beyond the local marching band to think maybe we should put Beyonce up there, you know what I mean? Somebody had to make that leap, and,
We,
with
I
small
always,
small business owners, it's gotta be us. We
yep.
gotta be the one making the leap and connecting the dots and thinking of the stuff.
Yep.
So
I draw parallels to the Houston Livestock Show and rodeo. Now, Texas is big on rodeos, and I had gone to a couple of small rodeos when I was in Georgia. When I moved to Texas, I was up in the North Texas area. Again, I went to a few small rodeos. It was entertaining to watch. I come to Houston, Texas, and down here, the rodeo is huge. Every year, and it starts toward the end of February, goes through 3 weeks in March. It's called the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. They'll start it off beforehand with a chili cook-off that'll last a couple of
Mhm.
days and a barbecue cook-off that lasts a couple of days. But when they have the actual event, Lisa, they'll put 75,000 butts in the seat for
Wow.
21 consecutive nights to
Wow.
watch rodeo.
Yeah,
And
wow.
it- and it's and a lot of it is the rodeo, but a lot of it's because they also figured out what you just said. They have major entertainment after the rodeo's over that people would want to see, and so they
Yeah.
use that to draw people in. But when we were sponsoring a booth there, I mean, sponsoring a suite and an event, at that time they had raised over $220 million for scholarships in Texas, and
Wow.
so it was just huge. And
Can you imagine that? And that's probably grown even more since then too.
oh yeah, I'm sure it has because I've been out of that arena for 10 years, and Aflac stopped doing the sponsorship on that before I was out of it. So, but I got to present the $50,000 check to the winner one year for the Saddle Bronc event on TV and everything. I felt so smart. Let me give you my TV look. Hey, Janet Leonard's in
Double O
Ireland. Do I
seven.
remember that right? Is
What?
Janet in Ireland? Do I remember that right,
Yes.
Janet?
Yes. Janet.
I'm going to be on a podcast out of Ireland coming up.
Oh,
The guy's name is
awesome.
Alistair something. I can't think of the
Of
last name
course
right
it's
now, but he's in
Alistair.
Ireland, and so we're coordinating it based on that time difference.
Oh,
That's a trick.
that's awesome. I hope you get to go there. Have you been there yet?
I have not, but I would love to do that
I
someday.
hear
And
they
Janet,
have
by the way,
good,
if I come out there, I'm expecting to be able just to shack out at your house, if that's okay. Uh,
I believe they have good golf over there.
and,
That's right up your golf
yeah, I
lane,
love
what
to
they
play
call it,
golf,
the
and so
golf
yeah,
right up it's not the alley, what is it? The fairway, that's right up your fairway.
right down the fairway. Which hitting the ball down the fairway would be a great idea. I
That's
don't seem to
what
be able
you
to
do.
master that, but well, I started playing golf when I was 15, and I really wasn't very good. But now, literally, I can say for sure, after decades of lessons and practice and playing a lot of golf, I'm decades older. So,
Oh, that's awesome.
hey, by the way, while we've got everybody on here, Bob Berg and Kathy Tajanel and myself and a lady named Kim Anjali, who some of you may be friends with her on Facebook. She's got a great Facebook page about being grateful. We're going to start doing events in Jupiter, Florida, where people can come in and it's going to be sales training, leadership training. It's going to be a cut above event. We're going to put everybody in a really nice hotel. They'll pay their own hotel expense, but we're
It
going to do
sounds
the
like
event
the
with a
VIP to Tony
it,
Robbins does stuff like that.
yeah, it's
VIP.
definitely. Matter of fact, Kim used to work with Tony Robbins, if I have the story right in my head, and she's kind of ramrodding a lot of that part of the process. But if any of you would like an invitation to that, uh, send me a private message on it, because it's not the kind of thing where I'm just going to put it out there for everyone, because we're going to limit it to 100 people. But if any of you think that that's something that you would be interested in, and you think you would invest in yourself to go to Florida to go for a couple of days, send me a private message, and I will make absolutely sure you get that opportunity. When I was while you were in Denver last week, I was in Jupiter doing an event with Bob on their Beyond the Mastermind event. And a
Now
kid
this
come in
is
from Australia, and
wow.
he is 29 years old, Lisa, and he is absolutely amazing.
He was one of the
He's
customers, one of the
Yeah,
students.
he was taking the
Oh,
mastermind. He was a
wow.
client of Bob and Kathy's, and
Wow.
he's got his business is already at like 12 million, and his goal is to scale it to 100 plus million in
Wow.
just the next few years. And so things like this can
Yeah,
be
so
huge in your
for it to
world.
be, all of us have to try to be around people that are that's why I joined the Go Giver Success Alliance, which, by the way,
Right.
everybody, they just changed it so that
Yes.
you can go $37 a month and you get to be, because think about this. I know all of you that know and love me think that that would be possible that I'd have run into Jeff some other way, but I don't see how. I had to have been in some group.
Yeah,
There
we
is
would have to have met somehow. Now, I know
right.
you're not religious, but I kind of think it's a God thing. So maybe we would have met. But
But I mean, it's just I think I'm saying it because we have to, as small business owners, not think of ourselves as just a sales rep for a
right,
company, but as a
right.
small business owner, so that we put ourselves in situations where we're going to run into people like Jeff West and like Bob Berg. I know him
It,
because I was doing speaker school, and I was doing stuff outside of my little company bubble. If I hadn't,
absolutely.
I wouldn't have met him either.
What you absorb by just hanging around people that are at a level that you consider higher than wherever you are is just huge. I used to take people to lunch that were smarter than me, and I'd say, "Look, I'm going to buy your lunch. I want you to tell me what you do," and
Yeah.
I would just listen, and I would pay for the lunch. And at that time, I was not. Uh, what's the right way to say this? I hadn't done as well as I did later, but
Yeah.
I wanted to know what they knew. And I was willing to pay for that expertise, even if it just meant sitting down with someone at lunch. And all of you on this that watch this now or in the future on the recording, the Go Giver Success Alliance at $37 a month. It's like you get one call. If you can't make the call, you can watch the recording. But one call a month, hour and a half, and it's so worth your time. It'd be a shame for you to miss it.
Well, and I know if you guys are like me, yeah, Don says Lisa's just too shy. You know how much nerve it took me to level up there to be on that first Zoom for this Go Giver Success Alliance, because I knew everyone in the group were a big deal, and I'm the Avon lady from the backwoods of New Hampshire. So
You're one
yeah.
of the top 5 Avon people in history. History, I say, in the entire universe,
You can make
because if
anything
it's
sound really good, you wordsmiths. But the fact of the matter is, right. So I joined the group to level up, and then if it hadn't have been for that, though, I wouldn't have had. The whole blue hair thing wouldn't have happened because
right,
that was a problem. I was trying to overcome a problem, but I was willing to do it, though. I think a lot of people aren't putting themselves out enough in
Right.
situations because it's like when we go to an event like I just went with Peg, it takes everything I've got to go mingle.
Right.
I'm not good at it. I bring the autograph card. She's really good at it. It's hard to watch because she's so good at it.
She's a stud, I
She's so good
say.
at it. But I don't think you have to be a born networker to get the job done. Because I
No,
think
you
I
don't.
did just fine. I came home with a handful of contacts. You just have to, um, pull up your big girl panties and do it, I guess.
I
I know
haven't
I'm
worn big
condoning
girl panties in a very long time. That was just a rumor.
Oh, that's good. Okay. So, your big boy socks? I don't
What are you
know.
going to do
Go with
with
your
that
big
one,
boy
Bluehead?
socks, right? Yeah. Yeah, okay. But I think, yeah. I mean, what is the worst case scenario? I was talking to somebody else and she said, I'm afraid to go out and go to this networking group, but I'm like, I fail to see the worst case scenario. If I show up, make a fool of myself, I don't go back or whatever. Chances are the other people are as nervous as I am, the other new people.
Right.
I
And
don't
the
know.
truth is, we all experience fear. I don't care how successful we've been. I don't care how successful we are. We all experience fear. The only difference between somebody who makes something really big happen is they don't let the fear stop their activity. They just do it in spite of it. And if they can learn how to let it diffuse, I've been rereading that book by Michael Singer called Living Untethered. And he talks about when you have these feelings, what's going on inside you. And he has his own slant about what causes that. The neurology of the brain is what causes it. But he talks about letting it pass on through you. Realizing it's there, accepting it, say, that doesn't feel good. That kind of sucks. I don't like that. But then let it pass on through. And that's what fear is. And if you can do that and you keep going, you can accomplish some amazing things.
Peg says, I wasn't a born networker. I worked at it and honed the skill. The more you do it, the more natural it comes.
Absolutely, Peg. Absolutely.
Yeah. And, I like to throw that out there because I think, I don't know, it did take nerve to do a bunch of the stuff, like even putting the big sign on my car when no one else was doing it. It took nerve to do it. And then it took nerve when the employee came and said, you can't do that. I didn't immediately say, oh my God, I'll take it right off. I said, where'd you see that? I said, I
Yeah.
didn't see that. Show me that. I'd be interested to see that.
You did so much better than I would because I would have basically said 2 words and they wouldn't have been very polite.
Ooh, yeah, I thought you don't swear.
I don't. I would have said, golly, no. I don't swear on
Oh,
the show.
oh, okay. Well, you don't swear in front of me is probably you're doing the Southern gentleman thing. Is that
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
you've heard me swear, so.
Don said there's a book by Susan Jeffers entitled Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. Oh, that's a
Yep,
good one. Yeah.
absolutely.
And
Go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna tell you, I was on a podcast this week,
Mhm.
several podcasts, but on one in particular this week, promoting Streetwise, and, I don't remember exactly how the conversation went this way, but I ended up telling the story of Blue Hair and how we met.
Oh, that's neat. Yeah, I do that when I get called on even at a new meeting or anything, I start like my life started there. So,
I was
so
on a show this week. It's called the Good Money Podcast. It's by a guy named Derek Kinney.
uh-huh.
It's a huge podcast, and sometimes there are some markets on AM radio stations. You'll even hear his show on the radio. And the podcast went great, but I believe that's where I was actually talking, where it came up. The Blue Hair
Oh,
story came up, if I remember right.
well,
Such a good guy.
I want to wrap things up tonight, telling you a story. I'm probably going to make a reel of it because it's so cute, but
Okay.
I'll tell you. So when I'm on one of my many adventures down to Yonkers, I was turning off of, I call the whole thing the Merritt, but I'm sure it's the Cross County Parkway by there. I
No, I
was
think they've
turning off
renamed it.
there.
I've been renamed it the Booty Highway, but anyway.
That you are so wrong. Okay, so I was getting off at the Rumsey Road exit, which is probably 5 miles from my destination. I am not the world's best driver in the world, although I've had a lot more practice lately. And so I thought, oh, I probably just cut that guy off a little bit. So then I'm sitting there, and a car pulls up next to me when there's a bunch of space. So I turned. I was afraid to look, and of course he's do the window down. So I'm like, oh, here we go. I go, the window comes down, and it's a man and a woman sitting in the front seat. He leans over, he's the driver, and he said, would you mind putting your back wipers on? The kids want to see the lipstick go on the lips. Isn't that cute?
I love it.
And I thought I was going to get yelled at. I'm like, sure, I'll turn that on for you.
Yeah, in Texas, if that had happened, one of us would have had our guns laying in the seat just in case we needed it. You know?
Yeah. Well, and it's funny because every time I think someone's stopping to yell at me, they're just wanting a book or be nice to me. And because I know I'm not the world's best driver, I think that's it. But
Hey,
I
have
want to
you
tell
scheduled that time with the radio station yet to go back in there with them?
No, because
You need to do
they're
that.
only there 11 to 3 during the week.
Okay,
And
work
I
your
don't.
schedule around theirs and go do
Yes.
that. That'll be
Well,
great exposure for you.
yes, it is. I wanted to give them a little time too because they've talked about me a couple times. So then I'll create new buzz by going back, and
Okay.
I'm going to send them some brownies. Yeah, so because I
Wait
sent
a
them a
minute.
pack.
Are you like the brownies from send out cards or the brownies from Washington, D.C.?
No, the ones from send out cards.
Okay,
The
that's
non,
what I
the
thought you meant.
non. Oh, I did go to a dispensary when I was out there, by the way, just to see what it was like. I was curious.
I fear any brownies around anybody anymore. Actually, cookies, I guess I should say.
Oh no, we had a great time. Peg and I had a great time. I can't
Lisa
wait for our
Williams just
next
put
adventure. Our next
Lisa
adventure.
Williams just put sharing is caring.
Yeah, I'm sure her and I'll figure out something else we need to go to pretty soon. I'm hoping. So because we watching her work is pretty amazing. I have to tell you.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
I'm sure.
she's Peg, I actually sent you an email, even though you told me to text you, and I'm sure it got eaten up. So I'll text you tonight about we need to set up an appointment for you to do my one pager for me. So
Yeah. Oh, and everybody, she does one pages, which is like a media thing. Yeah.
yeah,
So
for sure.
everybody, it's one of those things I think everyone should have that's a small business owner is
I
a
agree.
media sheet. It's just like I think every person should have a passport just in case you need it.
Yep. In case you need to get out of the country.
Okay, and one rule. Do you want to know I have a new rule that Scott was.
I'm excited.
A new rule. It's called the baggage turnstile rule. And you may already know the rule, or you may be one of the offenders. But the baggage turnstile rule is when you're traveling with your family or a group of people, one person is designated to be the bag puller that stands at the turnstile. The rest of the family does not crowd up along the side of the turnstile. They all go to the side, and then the bag puller hands the bags over to the family. We all
works
don't
a lot
crowd
better
up.
that way.
Yeah, see, that's a rule. There's a rule now. So everybody,
you do need to be thinking about the next set of rules when we do a sequel to Blue Hair.
Yeah.
You do need to be thinking about, okay, what are we going to teach in that? And right now I've got one I'm working on, two I'm working on, one that's in line saying, please get to me as soon as you can, but your family, you still get priority. So.
Well, we already want the Pink Floyd marketing rule in there. So the Pink Floyd marketing rule.
Tell me that one.
Another brick in the wall.
It makes sense. We said it somewhat differently growing up in Georgia. Something was on the wall, but
There's a dirty connotation to that one. What?
No, it's just gross. But anyway, there's an old saying about sales or about recruiting salespeople. If you throw up something on the wall, it's going to stick. So.
Yeah. Okay. I wasn't going there, but okay.
And nor should we in the sequel.
No. I've got a few ideas what direction the sequel should head.
Look at that. Rules are boring. This is probably why I'm broke, LOL, and why I'm in the alliance community. There, I said it, LOL. Lisa,
Yeah.
you forget those rules. You go do your own dadgum thing. There you go.
Dadgum. Yeah, I know what direction we should go for the sequel too.
Yeah,
I
I
guess.
know you do. Bell says this is working for me.
You're like, no, 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 no.
Yeah, 50 Shades of Blue coming up.
3 shades of embarrassment, right?
Mm.
Oh
All right, we
yeah,
got to get out of here.
Bell moves to Yonkers. Okay.
Or Yonkers moves to Bell.
Okay, well, I'm gonna get going. Thank you very much, sir. We appreciate it. This is going up on our my YouTube channel where you can find all of the past episodes.
All things Lisa you can find on YouTube.
Oh, except the link to my what is that called? Fans only fans. Don't have the link up for that yet. Okay.
Lisa Williams wrote, OMG, where's Jenny Bellinger?
Yeah, we're all setting up OnlyFans pages. That's what we're going to do
Bob and I
next.
did Jenny's show a couple of weeks ago. I don't know when it's going to air, but it'll be fun.
Oh, that'll be awesome.
I
Okay,
love
so
Jenny Bellinger. She's fun. All right.
he is. Okay, I'm going to thank you, everybody. Mwah,
Love you
love
guys.
you.
Bye.